So, where are we?
Welcome to Denison, Texas, Ironroot Republic Distillery. Little tiny distillery in North Texas, so far North Texas.
Very good. Who do I have the privilege of talking to?
So my name's Brüder Likarish. I'm one of the owners and distillers here. We're a small family distillery, so you'll see mom and dad and my brother all running around here. Probably niece and nephew at that too. So there's a lot of people running around today.
All right, good. Show us the setup.
Yeah, sure. So this is the production floor. We've got, first and foremost, that is our workhorse at the distillery. This is our main pot still.
Yeah.
My brother designed this guy with the folks at Vendome Copper and Brass, which is in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
My brother, therefore, he jokingly named it Jim Bowie, because the joke is he came from Kentucky and hopefully he's going to die in Texas. So it's the Alamo jokes around here. So yeah. So, but yeah, that is the workhorse. All of our whiskeys are going to get distilled on this one.
So when you do double distillation, you run it through twice.
Yes, we run it through twice. We do. We do a small amount of an Irish style pot still whiskey that is going to be triple distilled, and the third distillation will be on this other still, or the light whiskey when we do that will be on the other still.
Okay,
So
very good.
Everything else is double distilled on that guy.
So how big? What's the size?
It's 1,200 gallons.
Okay, 1,200 gallons. All right. So always times it by 3.8. So about 4,500 liters.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
for us over in Europe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's
Well,
good.
no, it's what's fun is that so the American equipment it's always everything's Fahrenheit and gallons, and then the German equipment everything's liters and Celsius. So depending on what piece of equipment, I'll switch between bar pressure and PSI.
Yeah, that's always the thing there. All right, your condenser is a little bit unique, as I'm going to say. Talk about that as well for us.
So that is a shell and tube condenser.
Right.
So it's got a bunch of copper poles in it,
Yep.
and that we're going to be flushing kind of cold water on the outside.
Yep.
One of my favorite aspects of our condenser, though, is that we do have it directly tied to our chilling line.
Yes.
And we control actually temperature during the course of the run. So during different points in the run, we'll actually have the cooling water at different temperatures to control how deep into the condenser that the spirit will actually get before it converts over.
Okay, very,
It
very
helps.
good.
You can promote esterification and all sorts of fun stuff by controlling that.
Yeah. So we have a nice little boiling.
Oh yeah.
We have the
Little onion on there. Yeah.
very, very good. So you have the plate. You can see you never have any. You never need the window now, do you? To see if
I hope not.
Does it boil up all the way up there?
I guess if we do the 100% barley or wheat, it can.
It can. All right.
But fortunately, we have not had anything ever boil over.
All right. And you have a
so-
declining line arm, which
Yeah.
is also interesting and very, very nice.
So yeah,
All right.
that's
Very, very good. So that's fabulous.
my favorite.
So now over here, what do we have? We have that is German engineering here
So
from
it is
Köpfe,
indeed.
yeah.
So yeah, is it my pronunciation Kota? Is that
Köpfe is good, yes.
So this is obviously it's a kind of a Swiss Army knife still.
Yes.
So it can really do a lot of different things. We use the columns primarily for producing mostly neutral spirit for like vodka or gin production. Although we will have them on for light whiskey because it needs to be distilled up quite a bit higher. Whenever we're doing any of the other products in this still, though, the columns are mostly turned off.
Now talk briefly about light whiskey. I know MGP made a lot of light whiskey.
Yeah.
You have started making light whiskey, which I did not even know. How did that happen?
So that's kind of a roundabout way that we started doing it. So initially, we were doing base for a barrel-aged gin.
Right.
And so we didn't want to distill it up to 190 proof. We wanted to have a little bit more body to it. And then my brother, we started exploring barrel-aged gins, and we noticed that the older they got, the more that the botanicals tended to recede.
Yep.
So we got this kind of crazy idea that we'd barrel-age the base, and then we would blend in botanicals back with the base after it had been aged for a few years, and do the botanicals only in barrel for about 6 months.
Right.
Unfortunately, we never got to the point where we added the botanicals back. We kind of fell in love with the spirit and ended up
Which I
drinking it
think is
that way.
good.
Yeah.
I think it's very, very good. Yes. All
So,
right, very good.
that's
So-
how we got into doing light whiskey. We don't do a ton, but it's kind of some fun, fun little
And
spirit.
3,000 liters or smaller?
2,000.
2,000. All right, very good. So what was it, 1,400?
4,500 liters.
4,500 gallons. How many gallons?
1,200 gallons.
1,200 gallons, but 2,000 liters.
Yeah. And then we have 150 liters.
Yes, but this is only, is it used for gin or for something else?
So it's generally for experimental stuff.
Okay.
We've done super small brandy runs with it.
Yep.
We've done some heirloom corn tests we do with it.
That's one of your specialties, isn't it? Heirloom corn.
We're gonna explore that quite a bit today.
Yeah.
So get ready.
All right.
So yeah, we've to this day we've distilled. I think we're just over 35 species of corn, which
wow,
it's a lot of fun. They can be so different from each other, but it's half the fun of is exploring.
So and right behind you would be your mash tun.
So that is the mash tun, 2,000 liter mash tun.
Very good. So you'd actually have to do how much do you fill this up then?
Generally, it's going to be two fermenters will fill one.
Okay.
So these guys, the mash tun was actually sized for the German
perfect,
still,
exactly. So. Now, what are you making the most of at the moment?
Most of what we make is going to be bourbon.
Okay.
So it's going to be just the different heirloom corn varietals of bourbon.
Now, talk very briefly. I'm trying to learn as much as possible about mashing. I mean, it's so fascinating because, of course, if I'm in Scotland or sometimes even Ireland, it's just barley.
Right.
And now you're talking about not just corn, but also heirloom corn and so on. So how do you mash the corn? The temperature is so difficult, isn't it?
So yes, we can talk about.
Let's geek out, okay?
When we're talking about barley, barley they're going to use the mash tun a lot like a brewer will, where you're going to have the false bottom. You're just going to crack the barley, and you're going to obviously filter through to create wort. For us, we don't need to do that because first of all, we're not going to be drinking our beer in the beer form. But with corn, we're wanting to maximize flavor and maximize yield. Those are the two things that we want to do. So the max conversion of sugars is really what we're looking for. And with corn, it converts much better if you grind it up much smaller. So we actually almost grind it up to a flour-like consistency. So rather than making a big sugar water with the wort, we create a big oatmeal, essentially, but with corn. There's some that have oats in it, but mostly corn. That also is going to help us do a step mashing. So we're going to start out, corn we're actually going to cook first because it cooks at 212 degrees. Then we'll crash cool it down between 150 and 160 degrees, at which point we'll add any wheat, barley, rye, oats, what other crazy thing my brothers come up with that week, and we'll hold it at that temperature for another 40 minutes before we crash cool all the way down to room temperature. So each of the grains will get cooked at its temperature for about 40 minutes.
Perfect, thank you. Now here you have your fermenters.
We have our fermenters. We're going to get tomorrow's mash day, so we're going to be filling up most of the fermenters tomorrow.
Okay. So how long does the mashing process take then? Is it 2 hours?
It's going to be about 5 hours.
5 hours. Okay.
So we'll do anywhere between 2 to 4 mashes in a day, depending on
how early you start and how late you go home.
Exactly. I think this morning I started right about 3:30 in the morning this morning. So.
Okay.
Hey, it's no rest for the wicked.
Thank you for your time today. All right, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6. Yeah. So we got 6 fermenters that we're going to be doing. So typically our fermentations are going to be 6 or 7 days, just depending on mash bill and kind of what we're looking at. We'll do first kind of 3-4 days will be obviously all the alcohol production, and then we will actually inoculate and do a malolactic fermentation on the back end for the last kind of 3 days.
And what type of yeast are you using?
So we've got 3 different yeasts that we'll use. We've got one, it's a little bit more of a traditional Scottish yeast that we do, that we like a little bit higher temperature fermentation.
Okay, so it is a distiller's yeast then?
Oh yeah, it's a distiller's yeast. It's a more estery yeast is going to be the best way to kind of describe it. We have another one that's going to be called USW6 that's going to be more of a traditional American whiskey yeast. Esters on it tend to be big cherry and those type of notes. And then we do have a cleaner fermenting yeast for vodka or gin or, again, for that light whiskey that we'll do. That's going to be way low ester compared to the other two. Because our fermentation temperature, generally we're going to be hitting right around 30 degrees Celsius, 35 degrees Celsius.
So you do have cooling jackets, I hope?
We do, but we don't use them. We allow it.
You can keep it?
We can keep it. I mean, as you can see, it does have jackets on it.
Yes.
But we're going to allow it to get up to 35 degrees centigrade.
Okay, which is, all right, so we're at 30 here, 30 there. Not bad, not bad. All right, so the yeast doesn't die off too quickly. That's good.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Capacity, what are you at the moment here? How many barrels a year? How many?
So this year we'll...
Or liters?
Yeah. So, let me convert it over for you. So, geez. Or we want to do proof liter, or we want just pure liters?
You go with whatever you want to tell me.
All right. Then, true time, oops, sorry. Let's do 240 liter times 360. We're close to about 85,000 liters.
All right, very good. A pure alcohol then. All right, very, very good. LPAs, right?
Yeah.
All right, 85,000.
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought maybe 50,000 more. I'm okay.
No, we're still small. You're going to see in the back,
Yeah.
I have probably 800 or 900 barrels on site right now.
Okay,
now,
that's the next question is, okay.
Now,
and offsite?
No, there's no offsite at the moment.
Not yet, not yet.
Although in September we'll be starting construction on the barrel warehouse. It'll be a 10,000 square foot barrel warehouse, or I guess 3,000 square meters.
Yep, okay.
So it'll store another 4,500 barrels.
Yep.
So.
Wow, nice, congratulations. Permitting, planning, no big problems, or was it
it
was a big pain in the butt, I'm sure.
It's still under process
Yes,
on it,
okay.
so we should be all right, though. We should be all right.
I was in Ireland, I was in Scotland the last couple of weeks, and it's easier to build a damn distillery than it is to have planning permission for a warehouse.
Oh, gotcha.
Everywhere I heard that time and time again. It's just like...
It's an adventure. Fortunately, this property is all completely concrete already, so there's no environmental impact at this point. So.
All right, very, very good. All right, so we went through the different steps here. Very, very nice. Would you like to talk about your Saints Alley very quickly since it's over here?
So Saints Alley, we'll get to taste quite a bit of that today as well. So Saints Alley is beginning of a blending project that we started with a gentleman named Chris Trevino, who's the Liquor Hound on YouTube.
Yes.
And so,
hi, Chris, if you ever watch this.
Harass him at some point. So I was hoping he was going to be here today, but he's in Hawaii right now.
Oh,
poor guy.
Poor guy.
Feel terrible for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Saints Alley is kind of the blending side of what we do. So it's taking some of our spirit and blending with spirits kind of from all around the world.
Yep.
We've done a number of bourbons. There's rye that's coming. There's we've got some brandy that's going to be coming as well later this year, and we've got some other projects I'll talk about a little bit later with you.
All right,
it's
good.
super fun that we're spirits coming, which is kind of fun with. So this is the barrel warehouse back here. So this is really where all the magic happens. As you can see, our warehouse there's it's insulated pretty well, so we don't get quite the extreme temperatures in this room that you would get in a lot of Texas warehouses.
So outside it's 100 plus degrees today, 101 is what the car said. And in here it's going to be 90 is what
about 91.
About 88, all right, 91, yeah.
91 right now. Yeah.
And it cools down by the morning?
Yeah, by the morning we'll be probably in the 80s in the morning,
okay.
so we'll lose. And then during spring and winter, you'll see temperatures generally will come down into about 50 degrees in here. So we do get pretty good temperature shifts.
Yep.
There's a lot of barometric pressure shifting.
Yep.
You can see, you'll see a lot of weeping out of the barrels when weather comes through. My brother likes to joke that the barrels, he gets headaches when the weather comes through. So he jokes that the barrels are crying because he's hurting it on his brain. So, but yeah, so you can see that we've got a bunch of barrels. We've got several different sizes of barrels that we use. The smallest barrel that we typically use is a 53-gallon barrel or 200 liter. And then our preferred kind of barrel size, and we use the most of, is probably about 240 liters.
Okay.
So it's
so that'd be a barrique, or would that be a hogshead, or what is
not quite
what is
hogshead.
240? All right.
240. I don't know the technical term for it.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
As I say, it's not.
But so not everything is new charred oak, as I see.
Yes,
you do have some. So you are. Where do you get your casks from? Are you international ISC? Are you Kelvin? Where do you?
ISC is going to be our main supplier of casks, especially for the new oak.
Yep.
We do have a handful of Kelvin casks in here, just because what's really something that we've really started noticing, especially as we've worked with MGP for the Saints Alley project, was that different cooperages are quite a bit different flavor-wise, and a lot of it has to do with some of the bacteria that helps break down the oak. In different regions, you really see the oak really taste quite a bit different from the different cooperages. So that's been a lot of fun, kind of exploring that. So
all right, talk us through a little bit of the barrels here. So we have over here we have some interesting stuff.
Yeah. So you're gonna get to taste so these three have been emptied for their final time just not too long ago.
Yeah.
So this is actually barrels that we aged Icarus in for quite a while. So Icarus is our corn whiskey that we aged in peated malt casks and then also port casks. So you can tell port cask was the big guy on top, and then these were actually 2 Islay casks. You can also see we've got a couple quarter casks from Islay as well.
Yes.
Over there.
Very good.
Now, obviously, we've got the kind of tonneau there. That's actually a cognac tonneau, and that's actually where our oldest brandies are at. So all our 8-year-old brandies are actually in the tonneau now.
Yeah.
So they will. Well, again, we'll bust into that here in a little while, but it's probably 9, 10-year-olds when we'll start releasing it.
Yeah.
So we're almost there.
Almost there. Very, very good.
So
you almost got overrun winning the award Best Bourbon 2020, and then demand was much, much stronger than supply could ever be.
Yeah.
When are you going to catch up? Is it going to be 2024, 2028? What are you
catch up is probably 2027.
Okay.
Actually, no. I'd say probably about 3 years from now we'll be starting to catch up. Our standard kind of age is around 3 years old, so 3 to 4, and that's really where most barrels tend to be their best. Although since we've started transitioning over to more of the 240-liter casks, we've been able to push several of those barrels much longer than we typically would.
All right. So I find it fascinating that's just not just new charred American oak here, but if I go over here, you have some things. You want to talk about those? Yeah, rum casks and so on. These are used for finishing, or do you actually do a full maturation of those?
Those are for finishing.
Yeah.
That's actually
May I walk?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
So that was actually a project that's going to be coming out this fall.
Okay.
That we teamed up with Plantation Rum.
Yes.
And so these are some Fiji rum casks from them.
Yeah.
And then they sent us a bunch of Fiji rum casks. We sent them a bunch of ex-bourbon to age the rum in. So they'll be releasing their rum aged in our barrels, and we'll be doing the finished bourbon in their rum casks.
Who owns Plantation?
Maison Ferrand.
Okay. See, I forgot about it because they're doing a lot of experiments with distilleries in Scotland, in Ireland, and even in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is fantastic and exactly the same thing. Yeah. All right. Very good. Yeah. So even you have almost no char. So it's barely legal.
Yeah. So you see the Balcones cask. So those barrels. Those have never aged any Balcones.
Yeah.
Those barrels actually we got when we years ago, 2013, I want to say, we did a barrel order with Balcones for Vicard. So these were brand new, and then obviously a number of the barrels had almost no char. They were just toasted. Yep. And we took all of those, and so these are our brandy casks.
Exactly. Now. Toast, no char. Okay, interesting. So that's very, very good. Normally, they should look like this. That's where we're at. Yeah. So here, World Cooperage. That must be. Isn't that West Virginia?
No, that's Independent State.
That is okay.
That's their wine cooperage.
Yeah, exactly.
And the reason why they're labeled that way is because the 240 liter they don't make those at
those
the
those are made for the wine industry actually more. Yes.
And you'll notice we use. Pretty exclusively char 1. Yep. There's a handful of higher char in here, but for the most part, we use very, very low char, some sort of toast profile.
Very good. And European oak?
A lot of European oak.
Okay. Heavily toast char number 1. That's going to be some good stuff here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very, very good. So what do we have here?
So this is ex-bourbon cask, 100% malted barley. This is a super high fruity malt.
Yes, very much so.
The kind of goal that we were trying to go for on our malt program, at least with these malts, is kind of following. We want a little bit of funk, so you get a little bit of kind of Campbelltown funk in there, but still be a little bit more space on overall. Okay. I guess typical standard styles, obviously.
So someday we have to define what the Campbelltown funk is actually. You know it when you taste it and smell it, but then trying to describe it to someone else is like, well, yeah. So 6 weeks ago I was in Campbelltown. It was beautiful. with Springbank and Glengyle and Glen Scotia and so on.
Then
I went over to Islay for a whole week as well. I know. I've been stuck in Europe for 2.5 years, so I could not travel. I've done Scotland, Ireland, and now America, all within 8 weeks. So yeah. Yeah, my wife's getting a little. She says that was enough. Yeah, you have to stay home for the next 6 months. She said basically. Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. So this is obviously still a young malt. It's 2 years old. I think
So-
kind of our target in our mind for age is probably around 7-ish, between 5 to 7.
Now, one of the what you do is you like to work with water in the casks.
Yes.
You don't just at the end say we're going to cut it down to 50%. You start actually reducing in the cask. Has this been reduced at all?
Not yet.
Okay,
but
so
this,
it went into the cask, what, 63, 65?
this went in right at 60.
Okay,
so
very good.
120. So
I'm
this
sorry,
will be
ABV proof.
Yeah. So this will be likely so this is now just hitting 2 years.
Yep.
Since this is going to be a kind of a 5 to 7 year project, we probably right after summer will be the first time we're really going to look at it for does it need to be watered down?
Yep.
Do we need to watch the tannin on it? So,
Not yet.
no, not yet. I mean, obviously color wise, we've got some much darker things that we'll pull before the end of the day here.
Yeah, but for a single malt, that's actually, for Scotland, they'd be happy with this.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on. Very, very nice. Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
American oak, so that vanilla really shines through a little bit. Now, is the ABV going up?
ABV is going up.
Okay.
You can tell it's very peppery right now,
Yeah.
especially with the
heat,
the
yeah.
heat in the summer.
Yeah.
The barrels get very agitated, but also you start pulling a lot more raw tannin into the cask. So right now, you're getting a lot of the raw oak is starting to really seep into the cask. So.
Yeah. It's very interesting when you look at the barrel profiles, how they change over the seasons as well. And when you pull it, I thought it was like linear. Nope. There's waves.
Well, and here's the even crazier thing.
Okay.
It will shift within a day. It's the morning taste versus if you come in the afternoon, the barrel will taste different.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
I'm getting a little bit of a Glen Scotia moment here, actually. So congratulations.
Thank you
Well
very
done.
much.
Well done. I've had worse single malt scotch in my life than this, and this is only 2 years old. I mean, so very, very well done. Interesting. So is there a name already set up for the single malts, or are you still working on that?
Not yet.
So who's the advertising and marketing department? Is that Mom?
There is none.
Is it Marcia?
As far as who comes up with the names, that's my brother, Jonathan.
Yeah, you have some interesting names.
He loves what we like to call in the U.S. SAT vocabulary.
Yes.
He loves Greek mythology, and he basically says, "Hey, Robert, do you know what this word means?" And if I say no, then he's like,
that's the name. That's the one.
That's what we want for it. So.
Excellent. Wow. Thank you.
That's the American oak. Now this same spirit. This is going to be a European oak.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Now the difference. That'd be very, very interesting. And they're basically the same age as well.
Yes, they're
exact same
run. In fact, exact same run off the still.
Is the plan to bottle it separately, or is the plan maybe to blend the two? Because that's actually awesome to be able to have. Oh, here we have the American, here we have the European, and to actually do comparisons. I would love that.
My guess is because the malt program's not going to be our main thing ever. It'll be much more smaller scale. My guess is that we will keep things separate. Just with this stuff, it's more about education and having a lot of
But don't nail him to that statement. In 3 to 5 years from now, it might be totally different.
I'll be an older, wiser person then, so we'll see what I say.
That's true. This is a whiskey thief, by the way. Yeah, so we're stealing our whiskey here.
So this is one of the tools I brought back from cognac.
Yeah.
So the bourbon guys, they typically just drill into the heads of the barrels.
And take a nice little dowel and just hammer it back in there.
And I don't know, it just makes me feel like I'm just paranoid that it's going to start spewing out on the floor.
You're abusing your barrels doing that. Don't you have to respect that? Yeah, the first time I saw that, I was like, no, that's wrong. But, oh well, that's what they've always done.
It works for them.
Yeah, exactly.
So for us, that's also why I like the...
Totally different.
Isn't it?
Wow. I get much more of a fall I'm walking through a forest with the leaves in October and so on. So there I had vanilla and malt, and here that wood, totally different. Fabulous. So single malt program, and you have a lot of other stuff going on here as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So.
Sometimes we're a little ADD, and we do a lot of different things. Variety is the spice of life.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it is.
So we have ratcheted up, obviously, the main core program, and then which is also giving us more time for some of these experiments and to play around with them a little bit more. So.
Good. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. The pepper moves almost like an octave deeper.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's this one's heavier.
Yeah, exactly.
Too.
I went deeper, you went heavier, but you exactly.
Yeah.
So almost the same, but just in total, almost an octave someplace
an
else.
octave lower. I think.
Yeah,
That's a great way to describe that.
I do a lot of music. I'm not a musician, but whiskey sings to my heart and my soul. So yeah, excellent. I like this. I like this even better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
of course, I typically like the European oak.
Yeah.
So this is a mostly Slovenian oak. Is
Okay.
actually what it,
Right.
what
Very
it
good.
is.
Great. Thank you. This is a privilege. Yay. Now, you're in 20 plus states. Is that about right?
Yes. Yeah. Now the Ironroot obviously it's limited, but the Saints Alley is definitely going to be way more available than the Ironroot side is. But we should be available in 25 states.
Okay. Very, very good. And outside of those 25 states, since I'm in Europe, will it ever reach Europe?
So the answer to that is yes. There actually should be some independent bottlings coming in the not too distant future.
Oh, you worked with Berry Brothers and Rudd again, yes.
Yeah, Berry Brothers has a couple barrels that we sent over last year. And then there's actually been a barrel at that boutique company for the last 4 years, I want to say they've had it. So I'm when that comes out, that one was one of my favorite barrels I think that we've ever done.
Really?
Just because
Okay.
it was...
Have to buy it.
it's one of those. It's super unique flavors, but it started getting some of the rancio brandy style notes. So you get some of the mushroomy, blue cheesy type notes. It was so fun. That's not a very common flavor here, but we do get it periodically, and I tend to really latch onto those barrels.
Okay.
Although I'm really not a big blue cheese person for some reason, but I like it in my whiskey. It's kind of weird.
All right. Good.
Oh, cheers.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. So one more thing from here, and then we'll go to where it's a little bit not so warm.
Cooler.
Yes.
You said you wanted to try the Irish style?
Yes,
or did you want...
that'd be great.
All right.
And I have the barrel picks that we pulled earlier at the end of the table.
Oh, perfect.
Thank you.
So that you don't have to sit out here.
No, exactly. I'm starting to sweat already, so it's okay.
Who wants this much sweating, huh?
No. Oh, you have Madeira as well. Oh, yummy. Sultan. A dream come true here.
Oh, yeah.
What does CELT stand for? Oh, that's the Irish. Okay, the pub.
That's,
that was also cooperation, wasn't it? Yep.
So they're the ones who talked us into making this whiskey years ago.
Are they in Dublin or where are they?
No, they're actually in McKinney, just
Okay.
south of here. So they've been named the #1 Irish pub in North America 2 times now.
Okay. Wow.
It's a very fun place to go visit and drink. But this is one that's still in cask right now.
Good. Thank you. Oh, yeah. So tell me about your pot still 50-50, 30-70, what are you?
60-40.
Okay, 60%.
Unmalted barley from Texas, 40% Irish malt, and then triple distilled on our pot.
And do you have I didn't your mill. Do you grind it yourself?
So that was grounded. So we actually did all of the mashing for these products at a local brewery.
Excellent.
So we work with them because they have the ladder ton to be able to handle and do all this.
So I just found out 2 weeks ago that malted barley is very easy to grind. Unmalted is a pain in the neck. You need exactly. I was like, Jason, that makes sense. It's like, well, I never thought about it, to be honest. Never, and
Yeah, it's giant. So the hammer mills will watch how much.
It takes a little while, and then it opens up, and I get a wet press moment already. Ah. Oh, this is good. And how old?
This is 2.5.
2.5. Okay. I forgot to cheers you.
Cheers.
Oh, it's so much smoother. What is the ABV here?
We're about 117.
Okay.
So this one has had a little bit of water added to it already.
See, all right. Well done.
Thank you.
Interesting. Other people just starting, and you have whiskey here that you did 2.5 years ago. Wow. Pioneer, yeah? So.
Yeah, just holding on to it. I mean, we do small, like the kelp, they have a lot less patience than we do. So.
Well, I mean, Brian Nation just moved to America last winter. And he started, and then the people in Colorado started 2.5 years basically before that, or 3 years, and then, so you're at the forefront. I mean, hey.
Right. And this, we've actually got quite a bit of this product laid down.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
So this one will be a little bit more widespread than the malt program.
And which one's your favorite? That or one of those?
This could sound crazy.
Your children, we love them all the same, but.
Probably the weirdest of the bunch is probably my favorite.
Your outlier at the top one.
No, this.
Which one?
There's this one right here. So I'm gonna pull this. This one I call.
But that's a sherry butt.
The sherry butt.
Yeah.
This one I call Gunsmoke because it's gonna be a little sulfur.
It's got that sulfur in there. But it's Oloroso, or what is it?
So it's an Oloroso. So it was a actually a barrel at Berry Brothers in Rudd at one point.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pull it. It's sulfury and funky, but it's actually quite a bit of fun. It's 100% Texas malt. It's also lightly peated as well.
See, I'm not a great fan of sulfur, so for me,
probably not gonna be your jam.
No, it's not. Definitely not going to be my jam.